Well, this was probably the least fun game of the year so far. I know there was a lot of questions people had, including me. What was going on? Why are we struggling on offense? And then what were we doing on defense? So I really wanted to take a look at it and see what we could find out. I'll start with the defense, and then afterwards I'll tackle the offense. Now, outside contain seems to be something that we struggle with, or at least early on in this game as I go through it. The very first play of the game, this exact same thing happened, and then here on 3rd and 2, on their second drive, it's going to happen again, in that we're actually going to really clog up the middle of the box here. The two linebackers and then also Bookie and then the free safety are going to come in as well, and no one has outside contain, which is strange. Someone has to have outside contain. If it's Murray here, then he needs to not attack the player here, the blocker, because he's not going to be able to shed the block and still have outside contain. It's just not going to happen. He's got to get on the outside and force him inside the blocker. The safeties both kind of come up, and they're not going to be able to get to the outside fast enough, so they clog up the middle, but then there's no one with outside contain. So he's able to just bounce outside, and because we're kind of single covered out on the outside, he's able to make a big play pretty easily. Here's another example later in the drive. There's no backside contain here. They do a pretty good job stopping him here, but who has the outside contain or the backside contain? I mean, there's nobody. I don't know if Murray is supposed to be coming in here, or if we're just expecting the outside leverage here, him to be able to get off and make a play. That's just not going to happen. So again, we allow a big run simply because we don't have anyone there to contain it.
On 3rd and 2, they're going to run the Wildcat, and we're actually going to stop it, but it's the same thing. There's no outside contain. The reason why we're able to stop it, you'll see this safety and then the cornerback here too. They're coming in towards the middle, not outside contain. Mark Jackson here, just like in the previous plays, is attacking the blocker. Like he's doing a read, like a two gap, which I can't imagine you would two gap on an outside contain. It doesn't make any sense. This time he's actually able to get an arm on him, which is what stops him. If he doesn't get that arm on him, if he comes in, jump cuts right there, and then just heads to the sideline, he's able to make the first down pretty easily. But Mark Jackson's able to make a one-arm tackle, and you can tell from outside contain for an elusive back, it's just not going to happen very often.
One big difference this year is kind of a return to what we've seen a few years ago, and a lot more, the blitzes are a lot more exotic, a lot more twists and things like that. In fact, one of the first plays of the game, oddly enough, Trey Norwood kind of lined up in here, was not the corner on the receiver, and he blitzed and came free to the quarterback, which is very strange. In this case, we were doing him on 3rd downs. You'll see the just kind of I'm not even going to go through what they're all doing, but guys exchanging gaps, and you have a blitz coming from the outside here for the safety, and then the outside Buzzy is looping inside. He's coming free of the quarterback. So those kind of things are going to create pressure, but he's able to get the ball off to their big receiver. Thankfully, Motley is able to get a hand on it, and he did well the first 2 times that I didn't show the other one, but the ball was overthrown, so he tries to underthrow him this time, and he's able to still make the play. I think from here on out, when they underthrow him, he's going to really struggle to stop it. This is very frustrating. Again, we have numbers advantage. Only 5 guys in the box, and we have 5, 6 blockers. So very frustrating. You're going to see Alvarez struggle again to block the nose. You can see him getting pushed back. He's got to have help from Powers. And so you kind of lose a guy there to having to double team that the nose tackle. So there goes one numbers advantage. And then they just really good execution here. The defensive end is going to force the pulling guard to fall, kind of cluttering up the hole, and they've got to get to the outside. Carson Meyer, it just kind of slows everything down. He's actually going to, the linebacker here is actually going to jump inside, take a big gamble here, and is going to get Sutton's foot and is going to trip him up. Now, the final tackle comes from that middle nickel, the third safety. And that's what he does. That's what one of the things that makes it so tricky is he's able to come in and clean up in the running game. So if you have any kind of delay in the blocking, whatever, if you don't hit it quickly enough, he's going to be able to come up and make a play. Now, I don't know if this is a real adjustment or not, but you'll see we actually do have outside contain here on both sides. The safety, Houghton coming out instead of coming in the middle, is going to come out for contain, and then Murray here, you can tell, although it might just be that the offensive lineman, I think his offensive line might be a tight end or whatever, on the end is blocking inside, so it might just be result of that. But you see what happens, he can't bounce outside, funnels them in to where all the bodies are, and we're able to limit him to at least, he still pushes forward for about 4 yards, but it's not a big play. Here's a missed tackle here. You can see instead of he does pretty well, but then he still lets his forward momentum kind of carry him. But Bookie, you'll see here's another example of him wrapping up and making a good solid tackle. Here's another great play by Buki. You can see it's kind of 1 against 3. Of course, you have a safety back there, and we have a the kind of linebacker here coming in and blitzing. But he's actually going to beat his block right there on the outside, get in there, dive, and make a good fundamental tackle, wrapping up and taking him to the ground. Here's another example here of the safety and then Murray doing outside contain on both sides. See, instead of coming in, they're doing outside. So I think this is an adjustment that was made and kind of force him to the inside. Now there's not guys there anymore, so they're not stuffing up the middle, but we're still able to get off of blocks and then come inside or kind of outside in and then make the tackle and limit him only to about 3 or 4 yards.
This is just so frustrating. You're going to see really good defense, actually. We're just rushing 3, but look at Gallimore, by the way, was just dominant in this game. At least he is so far in the first quarter, and then this beginning of the second quarter. But you'll see he's just going to go right through 2 guys, immediate pressure, forcing him to throw quickly. So, there's really no reason to blitz, I don't think, because we were getting plenty of rush. Even when they were not max protecting, but even when they were sending someone else to help protect, we're still getting pressure. But when you pass quick, there's just not much you can do. You can see this good coverage. He's back far enough in the zone, and you have Parnell Motley over the top. So the ball has to go over him and then under Motley. And then Motley's still going to get a hand on it, but he's just not able to knock it out of his hand. And of course, going for the ball there's really no way you can tackle him. So I don't really fault him as much for that. But then, of course, the missed tackle by Houghton there is the big issue. And then, man, he's got a long way to go until finally we're able to Man, both miss those tackles. That's sheesh. That's harsh.
One interesting thing I noticed on this is Butler. He's going to get another one of his um, underthrown passes. We don't really see their quarterback throwing over the top. The one time he tried to, the very first time he tried to throw to him, when he had a step, he actually overthrew him. And I didn't show this, but we actually had, when we were on offense, Grant Calcaterra, we had a mismatch and tried to get the ball to him, but he had actually beaten his receiver by a step. And Kyler tried to overthrow, or tried to throw the ball to him, but just slightly overthrew him, and he wasn't able to catch it. Ironically, um, he's Motley is so close to him, so even in catching to him. And instead of doing some kind of a trail technique, if he'd have been like a half step behind him, possibly, then he would have forced a perfect pass in order to catch him. But by being even with him, all he has to do is underthrow it, which is an easier throw because it doesn't have to be quite as accurate, and he just comes up and gets it. And then Motley is trying to get a hand on the ball and trying to strip it away to make an incompletion. Tries with both hands and fails with both of them. Butler's able to hang on to it, and you can't tackle him and do that. Like to see him hang on with his outside arm and then strip with the inside. You see, hang on to that instead of stripping it away. Hang on there. If you're going to strip, try stripping with the right hand, and then try. I don't know, but that's just not going to cut it. And then he's just going to take it all the way.
Here again, we're going to see no outside contain really. The at least on the boundary side, if we're just attempting to hold the outside contain by having a player play two gap on the outside blocker, I just don't see that working out. In fact, I don't think I've seen it work yet. So we're having to rely on the corner there, which a corner tackling a running back just typically is not going to go too well.
So on the next play, we do have outside contain by, of course, the corner here because there's no receiver, and then you have let's see, who is this? I think that may be Nick Benito. Anyway, with outside contain, it forces him to run up the middle on 3rd and 1, and then we're able to stop him.